How we doing, team? So we're just going to record a little video for you that's about these regionals coming up. Okay, we're really excited about it, getting it going, but we just want to break it down to you guys so you're fully aware of like what it is, how to get involved, where it is, etc., etc., and just what the meaning about it, meaning like of us putting it on, and what you can gain from it as well. So,
quick outline, we're going to go through how we've got to creating regionals now, the reason why we're creating these events, the format of regionals, and then just a quick bit about the regional managers who will be kind of sorting the events at the individual locations throughout the different countries in the different regions. Alright. So part of the bigger picture, we want to try and help as many people as we can to be the best they can. And we found, obviously, by having these training days and Super Saturdays in the past, that people have levelled up, people are learning quicker, people are just having a better time, you know, training with like-minded people. So by instilling the values and behaviours that we have here and putting them around different locations in the country with people that we trust, we can obviously start to help more of you guys. All right.
And I think the Super Saturdays and the training days that we've been doing in the past are just proof of what Jack's just said happening, and we just want to make sure that we can keep continuing to do that and do it in the most effective and fun way that's going to benefit you guys as much as possible.
So there's a couple of problems that we had from what we've done before, what we've tried before. Super Saturdays were every week, so it was hard to keep them sustainable. We lost a little bit of that magic that we started at the beginning. The second one was training days, which we had probably every 3-4 months, okay? But we found that they weren't frequent enough. People getting excited to come, yeah, but there wasn't enough of them.
It was even when we were doing them monthly towards the end of last season, it ended up being really every 3 months that someone could come to them because people can't travel 4 hours to the other side of the country to get to a training day, and they're not going to do that for a couple hours training session. So yeah, hopefully this answers that question, that problem.
So we wanted a closer community as well, so obviously with the programme changes and getting everyone on the same programme, we brought you all kind of closer together there, but this is obviously just one step further in that direction as well. If we can have more of these events that are going to be exciting and get you guys together, again, that's going to bring us all together, which is really important.
The next point there about accessible competitions, there's a lot of athletes that are in our programme who are yet to compete and they're trying to get to their first competition. And this for us is like a little bit of a stepping stone to gain an experience to be able to go and do that. So it's just go into a regular CrossFit gym that's nearby, doing lifting events, doing workouts, with a load of other people where it's not quite got that official kind of like touch to it, where like there's super tight standards being held, but you're just getting that step closer to putting yourself in that competitive environment, and it's like I say, it's just a stepping stone to then going on to a competition. And we feel like this is a great thing to instill to make that happen.
So these next three are kind of they're linked. So we're just trying to raise the level of CrossFit, in the UK and Denmark as well, okay, and all the other countries where we're in. Obviously we've got a little bit more control, in the UK and having access to people a little bit more. But this is kind of going to lead on to a few other things that we've got in the pipeline that we're not going to go through today, but it was just kind of made you guys aware of. So yeah, bringing us together is going to raise up that level. It's going to get, ultimately we're hoping to get more people to semi-finals, more people to the games, or if you just want to go to your, a good regional or national level competition, get you to there as well. Whatever your CrossFit Games is, that's where we want to be getting you, all right? And again, it's just providing more opportunities for you guys to be getting together and, finding where you want to go, okay? So the solution, regionals. Do you want to kind of give how you kind of came up with this initiative?
Yeah, so obviously what Jack had said there, Super Saturdays are too often, they're not sustainable. We'll still run that Super Saturday program for people who want to do it, but you know, to try and put effort in to keep that going, you know, well participating was tough. And then training days were something that we really enjoyed doing, but we also found that we couldn't get to them all, and people were messaging saying, oh, when's the next one going to be near, like down south or like in Scotland or wherever. So it was like, right, well, it all kind of linked together, and then it was like, right, well, we need to run a training day in a different region, and then it was just like, boom. To me, that word region, like regionals, was just like, it was the thing that was on my mind pretty much the majority of my career, just like training towards regionals and then like competing at regionals. So the buzz around the word for myself is, in a selfish way, is quite exciting. But it also is exactly what it is. We're going to be having regions around the country, like competing in a you know, friendly way against each other. So why not call it regionals?
I feel like one of the first ideas, you know, Steve put across. So obviously Steve's been playing a little bit more football recently. So this idea of like going head to head, you know, as a team, I felt kind of, you could see that it come from that a little bit. It helped just find that little, you know, final spark for this idea really. And I think that friendly competition will add just a really nice dynamic to it. We're going to go through the format of that after.
Yeah.
But there's going to be scored events, and there's going to be a way where everyone kind of contributes to the team score as well.
I think the main thing we want to create is this. It's not an elite thing. It's not just what people, like the best people, can go to. Like, it's definitely not that. And we're going to make sure that's the case with the way that it's scored, so people don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to turn up there and like let that team down. Like that's not the case. Simply, like, we'll go into it. The first scored event is how many people turn up to that region. So event 1 is participation. So simply by turning up, you're playing your role in the score for that first workout.
And just finally on this note is, like Steve said, it's for anyone. So on this next slide, there's going to be a whole bunch of reasons as to why you should be getting involved. So let's start off with, it's inclusive. As long as you've got pretty much most skills that you need, you know, to do CrossFit, you might not have muscle ups yet or handstand walks yet. That's completely fine. But as long as you've got the majority of the movements, you can attend the regionals. Okay, so that's the first one. The second,
if you're on the program,
yeah, pretty much. If you're on the program, you should be coming if you can. And we're accessible, so we're in people's regions. Okay, there's less travel. It means, you know, it's easier to get to.
Yeah. Learning. A big part for me of how I've learned kind of my trade through my career was being in person and experiencing things, like hearing that little nugget from another athlete or another coach, and being around certain people, watching people, how they warm up, you know, what they do before they warm up, what snacks do they have, what do they drink in between. All these little tiny things that you can't find in a YouTube video, you gain them from experience and being around other people. And I think it's really an important thing in terms of raising the level of you guys, raising the level of CrossFit, improving like your knowledge and better preparing you when you do go and you know, enter a competition.
And this is what ends up happening from learning things, and by being pushed out your comfort zone a little bit more and being willing to take risks. You know, someone does something that you're like, oh shit, like that was serious, and then next thing you know, you end up doing it as well. So that's something, you know, that we've kind of
that's been big for us, and that we've just done the 10-minute test on the bikes, and that was like, it's happening everywhere. It happened for me, and it happened for Jack in here. We weren't really that. I thought I was going to get like 160 on the bike, and you had put target down at 180, and then we'd seen some scores come in and other people, and it was like, right, well, they've got that. So then it starts. Well, you believe that you can do better, and I ended up doing 189 because I'd seen that Matt Rodwell did 188, and there was no chance I was letting him beat me. And Jack got 192, so we both exceeded our initial scores because of the hype that we were getting from just people on the group. But that in real life person is way more effective as well.
So it's an opportunity, one, to get together with, like I said before, like-minded people, to test yourselves, test your fitness, see where you're at, and to help you develop and become better athletes. So again, like we said before, whatever your CrossFit Games is, wherever you want to get to, it's going to help you get in there. So yeah, so the next one, community, like we just said then, meeting up with like-minded people. You might find a new training partner, you might start meeting up more on a regular basis. Again, you know, more chance of raising the level, pushing each other, learning from each other. And then the final two,
represent. So this is kind of touching on what Jack was saying about me having started playing a little bit more football, being back in a team. And you kind of have that, like when you're in a team, like you're all working for each other, and it kind of like forces you to do better and work for other people as well. But we want to kind of create, on this represent, we want to try and create like a little bit of like a, you know, an inter-region, a little bit of competition where, you know, a bit of a tribe effect where, you know, the north-east, north-west crew come together and they're competing against the Scottish people, and we're all competing against like people down south and southerners, and there's a bit of a northern southern like bit of banter going on as well. And I think it's really something like, in terms of what you're doing in your training, we're training like every day pretty much, a good amount of time, put a lot of time and effort into your training to become a decent athlete. And sometimes just like one or two competitions a year doesn't really like give you everything back that you're working for. You know, a competition could come up and something could happen, you could get ill, and then that competition goes to pot. So this is just providing something that's constantly going to be there, that you can go and you can compete and you can get good experiences from. You can be in a team, represent your kind of like region. Yeah, just something else rather than just training for training's sake. Something else to, you know, put your body to a test.
Also, a great little stepping stone if you've not yet done a competition, to get a feel of what it might be like a little bit without, you know, the actual kind of pressure that sometimes people feel when they do compete. So a nice little stepping stone there as well. Okay. So the format of how it's going to look. Okay. So we want to be running one every month for 3 to 4 months. So we'll have kind of 2 seasons in a year. Ideally, as well, we'll have a JST Compete National Championships. Boom. Where it would be awesome to get all the regions together to actually go head to head, you know, in a face-to-face competition. So that's kind of the frequency of what you can expect. We'll go into a little bit more detail on the next slide.
Yeah. In terms of the format of the day, so what I was saying before, like, there's going to be 3 scored events, certainly 3 to begin with, and we might start adding a 4th. Okay, there's going to be 3 scored events, and the first scored event is going to be how many people turn up to that region. Okay, and there's going to be a regional manager in charge that's going to do a head count. How many people turned up? Okay, if you get 25, that's the highest, you know, participation of the other regions. You've won that event. So we just want to try and get as many of you there as possible to your closest region. And then the next 2, we're going to take an average score. So there's going to be a weightlifting event in every region. We're going to take an average score from the people up there. So we're going to get all the men's scores together and all the women's scores together and take an average. But when I say all, we're going to do 5 and 3, right? So we're going to take the top, in fact we're not doing all, we're going to ignore that. We're going to take the top 5 men's weightlifting scores and the top 3 women's weightlifting scores, make an average of each, okay, and then add them together. So top 5 men, let's say you snatch 100, 110, 120, 115, 105, whatever. Add them all together, make an average of that, and then the same thing for the females there, and then add those together. So then if you're turning up and you know that like you're not great at snatching, you're not feeling like you're pulling down your region's score and you're pulling down the average, right? Because it's only going to be the top people's score that count in that leaderboard as well. But simply by you turning up, giving it all, like adding to that environment, you know, cheering on and supporting your mates that are in your region, you're going to help pull their score up as well. Same thing then for the individual workout, whiteboard workout. We're going to make sure that they're going to be accessible and every region can do them. And again, top 5 men's scores, top 3 women's scores, average of that, added together is the score for that. Down the line, we want to try and create a little bit more of a team workout score as well, but we're just going to get them running first, see how things are going, and think about logistics of that when we get to it later on.
Cool. I'm going to go just to touch on this a little bit now. So the regional manager, so that's going to be the person who's kind of just in charge of that region, takes a little bit more control. So like Steve said, they'll be counting all the heads when you get there, they'll be making sure everything's running relatively smoothly, and then they'll take the average and input it on the leaderboard on Fitter, and then at the end of the day or the weekend, you'll see the leaderboard of like where the Southwest is sitting against the North, for example, you know, just to create again that extra buzz.
Cool.
So this is how we're looking to split the regions here, okay? So we're going to have the home countries, and we're going to have kind of their own region, alright, so Wales, Scotland and Denmark. But then, with us just purely having more athletes in England, we're going to split England into different regions. Now this may change, okay? And for this first one, for example, we're going to bring together the North East and the North West as one region. Alright, and similar for Midlands as well. We're going to have kind of an east, and everyone go to the east region or wherever's kind of close enough to you. Okay, so it could be that you're not actually going to your exact regions, you know, event yet. And this is subject to change, but we'll be telling you exactly which boxes and where we'll be running a regional event so you can get involved.
Also, it's worth pointing out, like, nothing's super strict and like there's not rules and regulations here. Like, this is just like a fun event at the end of the day. So, you know, if you want to turn up to the North one because you're in the area that week, like, just turn up. Like, you're not limited to certain areas. We want to eventually add more locations, more regions, so we want to add one in Germany or in France, like multiple in the UK, Ireland, and just like have them dotted around so there's like 10 to 12 of these places, you know, in a few months' time or a year's time. So that being said, if you know that there's someone, like you're a German athlete and you've got a box and you know that you can get quite a lot of people together, then just drop us a message and that's something that we can start developing.
The idea of this is just to build a bit more like identity, so we can create those teams that kind of, you know, build that competitive aspect really. And also it just gives us a bit of guidance to see where, you know, athletes can get together and train together. Okay. Yeah. So this is kind of just a general guide. Again, this isn't set in stone, but this is how we kind of see it potentially rolling out. So again, one event per month for 3 months, a little break, then we might have a 4th event, JST Compete National Championships hopefully, before a bit of a break again, and then we have a second season. So again, the scores would reset after each season, so then there's a chance for, you know, different regions to take the top spot or, you know, fight out for it. It's massive, guys. All right, well, it gives you an idea of some of the plans that we've got coming up. So yeah, this is just basically just touching on the regional managers again. So the building up the awareness of the event and making sure you know where it's going to be, because it might not necessarily be at the same location every month. All right, they're going to run the event and then they'll take control of the scores, recording them, getting them on the leaderboards, so you won't have to worry about that. Okay. First regional event.
First regional event. So we're going to kick this off on the 22nd of January, Saturday 22nd of Jan. There'll be 3 squad events within, and the locations that we've got, these are all confirmed, right? Yeah. The locations that we've got confirmed currently, for North West and North East, that's going to be at Train Manchester. For people around the South West, down at CrossFit Jolly Sailor. South East and Midlands is at Blitz in Twickenham. Across at the East, we've got CrossFit RS3, our long time serving guys over there, so it's good to finally get them involved. Wales is Adam Yelland's place. It's CrossFit RDHFC. Scotland, we've got some strong girls up in Scotland at the moment doing bits, so we're up over at their gym at Evo Training, and in Denmark we're at one of the Arca gyms, to be confirmed which one that is. So we've got a lot of regional locations to kick off with, so hopefully for most people there's something there, somewhere there that's within an hour's journey for you to be able to get to. So we should be able to get as many of you involved as possible.
Good stuff. That pretty much wraps it up there. Just finishing up with
Jack's favourite.
Yeah, if you want to go fast, go along. If you want to go far, go together. I forgot to change the picture on this. But yeah, that hopefully gives you a better insight to regionals, what it's going to be all about. You can see that we're super excited to get this going, so hopefully you are as well. See you on the
leaderboard.
See you on the leaderboard.